kind of thought process to it.
You asked for it.
But we are into game here.
You guys asked for it. Here it is. We are going to be seeing GreenSheep up against Jambre. Starting off with this Secret Hunter. This has definitely been the most popular variant of Hunter, especially here at the Premiership. Not really been seeing that. Basically, ever since that Call of the Wild nerf, it's pretty much just removed that sort of mid-range or even ends-off Hunter from the lineups.
Yeah, you're right. People are favouring their Secret Hunter, and I think it's because it can do so well in the early game and it can deal with a lot of other aggro matchups, but also get so far ahead against Control. So that's why people have been favouring it. And but just as we say that, GreenSheep throws a spanner in the works by including Leroy Jenkins in the deck. Yeah,
I mean, this is that's an interesting tech-in, and maybe it leans towards the fact that it's a little bit more aggro-orientated. He could be running multiple Unleash Hounds as well. The fact that it's got explosive traps in, maybe this is literally some variant of Face Secret Hunter.
Well, Munch said it earlier, he said GreenSheep was renowned last season for running these aggressive decks. He's very confident with them, he knows how to pilot them properly. So I'm not entirely surprised he's gone for some aggression. On the other side, we do have Jambre with the Tempo Mage, and hasn't started off particularly well. Also, he's going to give up that capturing there as well by forgotten torching that Cloaked Huntress. And it's just kind of frustrating because the Cloaked Huntress survives as well. But I guess Jambre is thinking ahead for perhaps an Arcane Missiles next turn.
Already getting to use that Unleash the Hounds. I like that decision as well, because you're not really going to get a much bigger board than that at any point during this game. Against the Tempo Mage, it's unlikely that they go wide.
Le Mana Worm.
Yes, with the Arcane Missiles as well, and you'd be able to fit in a ping on that turn.
Or Frostbolt the 4-2, yeah. Now, if luck goes on your side, you could be looking at a clear board.
We clear at least 2 for sure, like... Oh, wow.
Caster's Curse, boys.
Caster's Curse.
There's a 52% chance.
Jambre's face. This is exactly 52%.
There's exactly 52% chance. No, there was a 12.5% chance that those two went to face first.
I'll never tell.
But, yeah. I guess 12.5 is actually a fairly... Yeah, this is definitely a secret, like, face hunter variant.
I mean, there's a secret. No, stop with the percentages. Don't use
12.5 because for 2 to go face, it's 25% times 25%, which is 12.
Well, it's 4 times 4, which is 16.
Stuck in the middle with you.
There's a 25% chance to hit each one of those in the first missile, and then a 25% chance to hit each of those in the second missile.
But the odds that you get the same quarter twice is 1 quarter times 1 quarter,
which is
a 16.
No, it's 1/8.
Someone save me.
No, you don't add them, you times them.
Anyway, here comes Leroy Jenkins to hit to the face.
I'm so confused now. I was almost certain it was a 12.5% chance.
Forget. Right.
What's 0.25 times 0.25?
I will say one final statement on it. It's because you are working out what the odds are of you hitting that same quarter twice. So it's not 2 separate 1 quarter rolls anymore. It's looking at those 2 in combination. So it's 1 quarter times by 1 quarter instead of added. That's how it works. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, Leroy's been dropped. That's the thing that happened. Not something that you see too often this early in the game, just for pressure.
GreenSheep has just got overly aggressive. Well, not overly aggressive, he's just made a statement of what he wants to do. With quick shot in the hand, he's got the bow, he obviously hero powers as well. And Jambre having to use that fireball on Leroy Jenkins, but at least he has Jenkins.
Hey, Lamar. I guess another Unleash the Hounds would be what he's looking for here, but I think he's got explosive trap in place, so he doesn't actually need to... Want it? He doesn't actually need to do anything about these mirror images because, you know, explosive trap will do the work for him. You could actually take mirror image again, then proc the explosive trap, but you really don't want to give those bow charges over.
Naturally as well, you'd probably be thinking, well, I want to have as much taunts as possible, but it's whether he is considering explosive trap here. I mean, from what he's seen, he's definitely going to be thinking about it, and the lack of attack would suggest so too.
Don't worry, loves. The
Bunch is totally right. It's a 16.
I know. I didn't doubt it for a second.
No, yeah. For some reason, my GCSE maths has been a long time.
There's a reason why I don't get involved in these arguments.
Yeah, maths sucks.
I'm pretty good at maths, it turns out.
I'm not great, apparently.
I did pretty decent.
I mean, I did medicine at university. Now that's the worrying thing.
That's science, mate, not maths. It's all fine.
Technically, you need to have a good maths knowledge, though.
Here we go. We'll see whether GreenSheep has a good maths knowledge as he starts to search for lethal here.
Nice segue.
8 HP. I've never actually ridden a Segway, but I would love to. Jambre. Dan Gaskin currently losing his mind in this game. Considering Arcane Blast instead of Magic, you surely ping. Oh, I guess it doesn't really matter which way around you do it. Arcane Missiles is available though.
I wonder if he's Arcane Blasting first, and maybe trying to sense out a cat trick, just in case this Arcane Missiles could possibly hit that stealth. We'll chuck the Sorcerer's Apprentice back to hand.
It does mean that when that explosive trap goes, it won't actually kill anything other than just that mirror image. Now he can play Desert Drake alongside the Arcane Missiles. Prey gets that 1 in 16, hitting the cat trick twice. And he does manages to get it. So,
Nice kick.
it actually wouldn't have been a 1 in 16 in that scenario because it was
the third
times a third.
So it would have been a 9. Yeah.
There you go.
Apparently, when you don't times fractions for a very long time, you just don't remember.
In fact, no, it's not even the third times the third, right?
The light.
So meanwhile,
It was the last target alive. So
meanwhile,
I can't remember. I didn't actually.
this is lethal.
Yeah, it is lethal.
All for Jambre. So even though GreenSheep was putting an incredible amount of pressure, actually the mirror images just ended up being a little bit too much.
Hey, there's a face I haven't seen in for a while. Big Game Hunter makes an appearance.
It sneaks out of a portal. He's been raiding Firelance this whole time, and that's why he's not been about. But there we have it, Jambre managing to find lethal for himself. As Dan rightly said, we were a little bit caught up in the maths of the situation.
Throughout that game I was like this, whoa, whoa, whoa.
No, to be fair,
These
Moj was totally right. I just actually forgot how to do probability. But I'll never make that mistake again.
Never
I've gone back to
challenged
GCSE. I've had a Munchables lessons in GCSE maths.
If you're ever unsure on fractions, boys and girls, just hit me up on. Use the hashtag ESL Prem to ask me all of your fraction
questions.
needs. Anyway, let's continue with the actual series that's going on right now. Jambre now 1-0 up. GreenSheep with it all to play for. Got to stick to this Hunter deck, but now we've seen this deck before. It is going to be Jambre on his secret palette.
Yeah, I believe he's won like 1 out of 5 games so far with this deck. So he hasn't had the best of times, but he has been able to pull off wins.
I love that he just sticks to it though.
Well, I mean, he's been piloting it for so long, and like you said, he got to Legend with it probably several times. He's probably been growing with it over the course of several seasons.
I mean, if he wasn't doing well with it on ladder, there's absolutely no way he wouldn't bring it. So,
Exactly.
You know, there's got to be merit to bringing it at some point.
Sometimes when you know your deck that well, and you know what your outs are, you know what the probabilities are, and how often it happens that you get these draws, then why not play something that you're comfortable
The light
with?
protects me.
Well, there's a whole lot of Divine Shields going on right now.
Do you know the light protects me?
Does it really? Are you a priest?
I think you trade into the Divine Shield here because you know that he runs Rally and Blades. So.
And that's another reason why maybe Jambre does run this deck. I mean, by now you would like to think that people would know what this is, but certainly if you came across it on ladder, it's not something you would see every day, so you wouldn't necessarily know how to play around certain things. But I would hope that our players here in the UK Premiership would have done enough research to see that Jambre's probably played it a lot.
Do you know what's funny? Our other resident doctor in the UK, I don't want to bring it back to maths, our other resident doctor in the UK, Sona, I tweeted saying, I'm bad at maths. And Sona tweeted me saying, mate, I was agreeing with you until I realised I'm dumb.
Yeah, fractions are a thing. But so is Keeper of Ultimate. 3-2 on the board. Segueing away. That's the last time we'll talk about maths tonight, guys, unless there's a freeze major, promise.
I could do addition.
I'm not sure you can avoid maths in a Hearthstone stream, but
Watch me.
Hey, so what do you think the Laplace transform is of True Silver Champion?
I don't know what a Laplace transform is at all.
Nor do I, but Ball Control probably know. It's a physics mechanics thing. You know. Do you know what? This is a childhood scoundrel story here. Do you want to hear my childhood scoundrel story?
I don't think so.
My dad, my dad told me when I was 16 that he would give me 50 quid if I could explain to him what a Laplace transform was.
Did you?
No, because I could never figure out what a Laplace transform was.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
I know, that was a great story. I'm sorry, everybody.
Now.
There we go. 6 damage still on the board. This GreenSheep trying to wrestle for control here, but the redemption a little bit of an awkward situation for him. And actually used the kill command.
I think he played well around redemption though. I think he kind of sussed it out from earlier plays that it was. That's why he made sure he had the Argent Square to trade into it quite nicely.
It's looking pretty good for Jambre as well, because he's going to have True Silver Champion, which for all intents and purposes will gain him 2 health per turn unless he's using it to trade into things. So this will be a nice quick shot into the 3-3 to...
Both players kind of fighting for board at the moment. Explosive Trap isn't the best pickup. But it does mean that if Jambre did go for Argent Commander rather than True Silver, he could be punished later on.
Sure. So you, what are you worried about in terms of traps here? You know probably one's Cat Trick, the other one could be thinking about Freezing Trap, which is why...
Reporting for duty.
He does attack. No, he doesn't attack. Okay, yeah. I guess he's worried about Freezing Trap, but then do you bother about...
I would... if he's worried about Freezing Trap, perhaps he's thinking about sending the Argent Commander back, or sending one of those 1/1s.
Sure.
I was going to say the 1/1 seems like the nicest option in terms of bouncing something back here.
GreenSheep opting not to play the Freezing Trap so that Jambre won't be able to bounce back a dude.
It's going to be one of the traps out of the window there. And that means with the Explosive Trap out of the way, he's happy to play that Argent Commander along with Abusive Sergeant. Some good damage down to face, and Jambre playing very aggressively today, and so far it's paying off.
Yeah, you've got to bear in mind that Leroy Jenkins is probably in this deck as well. There is a lot of burst damage, so...
There is 2 ways to beat Face Hunter. You survive, or you just out-aggro them.
You hit face harder than them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's... Legion Hound's coming on through. I'm torn on whether or not to call this Face Hunter, because it's kind of this weird Secret Hunter / Face Hunter.
It is, yeah, it's Face Secret Hunter.
Yes. I mean, anything that includes Leroy Jenkins for me is relatively aggressive, except for combo decks that are...
Relatively, wow.
Well, I mean, I guess you get Warlocks that have Leroy plus Faceless, right? But...
Who am I? None of your business.
I'm not sure how great challenge it is, really, for Jambre at this point.
Well, it's a 6/6 body, I guess.
Like...
At the very worst. I think there must be at least 1 secret left.
Yeah, it's Cat Trick. This is why you don't want to play Noble Sacrifice, really.
What's that, competitive spirit, perhaps?
He knows it's Cat Trick as well, that's why he's probably not going to play Noble Sacrifice. That's competitive spirit for sure. So if
assuming that we're seeing the same deck that Hella Leroy was running earlier,
I think he ran competitive spirit last time as well. At this point, do you just Argent Commander Argent Horse Rider to take out the Argent Commander?
I think you have to. Otherwise, yeah. Staring down a very rusty barrel.
Very rusty barrel.
not really only are you going to get shot, you're also going to get an infection.
You're gonna get tetanus.
It's going to be bad times, I can tell you that. As a doctor, you should know. This is a bad time.
You're going to get tetanus as well as staring down a rusty barrel. So you're dead, but you also have dead tetanus.
Don't always die from getting shot, kid. That's a gunfight for you.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
Not only
for any American viewers watching right now, you can't survive a gunshot.
Not only am I bad at maths, I don't understand guns.
But you do understand tetanus. You've got that going.
I've got that going.
There we have it, GreenSheep. Unfortunately, can't find lethal, and Jambre, I think the key thing there, played excellently around the country. Didn't allow that to proc using that noble sacrifice, made sure to avoid that, and it just meant that GreenSheep couldn't really wrestle back control of the board.
Yeah, I mean, I think Kinnan's right. When you've got an aggressive deck like that, sometimes you hit harder, and GreenSheep couldn't get into things. He tried to play his secrets smartly. He didn't play the freezing traps, but I mean, you're playing against a guy that runs Secret Paladin, so he's gonna know his stuff about secrets.
If you get to turn 6, turn 7, Secret Paladin will just hit face harder than you can hit face harder as face hunter for the most part. That deck from Jambre is designed to be aggressive. It is an aggro deck. You know, yeah, you may run some 6 drops there or whatever, but it is designed to be an aggro deck.
Well, 2 explosive traps for Jambre. So very much this deck already looking like it's there to kind of counteract aggro itself. Maybe Zoo.
Zoo, yeah. This is why I think if you're going to tech into... If I was going to tech explosive traps into any person in the ESL Premiership, I would probably tech explosive traps into GreenSheep, who generally brings Zoo.
Yeah, I think he's brought Zoolock every week.
By the way, boys, not yet seen a Zoolock at all through any of our games this week. That's the first for ESL Premiership.
Yeah, I think you're right there. Unfortunately, or not necessarily unfortunately, just haven't really been seeing that.
Yeah, no one actually brought Warlock at all this week. So not just Zoolock, Warlock just completely out. So there's another hero that's just being disregarded by everyone. He gets dumped in the same pile as Priest.
I can't say I'm upset that we don't see Priest.
I am.
I actually really hate that class.
And it's people like you that are the reason why Priest has not had a buff.
Is it though? I'm not sure Blizzard mind whether I like it or not.
I think Blizzard do care about you.
About me specifically. Maybe they do. Who knows? Well, GreenSheep with a secret keeper in hand, but alas, no secrets to kick things off with. Does have that eagle horn bow though, but doesn't feel great to play the eagle horn bow to the ones you could consider trading the Argent Squire.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And then either using Argent Horse Rider or bow to clean up the big bad wolf, but then your board just gets dealt with. I think instead he's going to try and create his own board presence here, knowing that he can deal with the big bad wolf when it comes out. He's just going to offer the Argent Squire. Cloaked Huntress off the top is great in combination with Freezing Trap. More than happy to send back an Argent Squire. I would have thought.
Yeah, I mean,
in this matchup, every little counts, right?
It really does. It's just going to be a bit of a... It's going to be an early contest, and then it's going to be a race later on. And things like Cat Trick are what can make a big impact. And definitely those explosive traps later on from Jambre. If GreenSheep does build up somewhat of an aggressive board, Jambre does draw into one of those, it could be curtains for Mr. GreenSheep.
So we know that Cat Trick could get insane value here because there's only 2 spells in hand of Jambre, so he's going to have to proc it regardless. It just depends whether GreenSheep wants to make it so that next turn he gets that with a charge on his bow.
Who to shoot?
And this is a fairly awkward turn for GreenSheep, really. Do you just drop the Secret Keeper and the Cat Trick? Would you consider just dropping the Argent Squire once again, just because it's kind of awkward to deal with? You could try and rock the kind of grandmother. It's going to go for that line of play, but also drops the Secret Keeper.
Yeah, I like either dropping the Argent Squire or the Argent Horse Rider with the Secret Keeper, both of which are fine.
So both players run Leroy Jenkins in their hunter.
It could be both playing a face hunter variant.
And I think what the Leroy Jenkins brings to this hunter deck is a Call of the Wild's not as good, right? It's 9 mana, you have to wait that much longer, but you get a very similar amount of burst damage from Leroy Jenkins as what you got from Call of the Wild. In a lot of scenarios, Call of the Wild was the card that you used to end the game. So Leroy, same conception, really.
You get more damage, technically, don't you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you assume that you play Call of the Wild with 1 minion on board, it's the same damage.
Yeah. I mean, if you play Call of the Wild Bear, it's 1 damage extra. So.
Absolutely.
And I like the choice of Cat Trick from Jambre there of the tracking, because seeing the Secret Keeper on board, he's probably presuming there are secrets in GreenSheep's deck to kind of follow that. Now GreenSheep has his own decision of whether he wants to play into Cat Trick, because you can get such an advantage.
You're probably pretty aware now that that's Cat Trick, because it's not freezing. It's not explosive.
So Catterick will be procced. Doesn't drop the freezing trap though. But that is one trap in play for GreenSheep, his very own Catterick. With a kill command in hand, I mean, I wouldn't expect Jambre to be using the kill command particularly soon. However, actually, when you look at the damage available in Jambre's hand, there's 11 damage from hand once he gets to turn 8. 5 damage on board with hero powers, fiery bat weaved in there. You're actually looking at lethal within the next couple of turns.
Yeah. We know that Catterick is fairly heavily punished by Argent Horse Rider, but at this point you're ahead of the race, so you just keep going in.
With Leroy Jenkins in hand, he might be tempted to kill command here, but if he is worried about Catterick, then he's probably going to save it to guarantee or at least set up lethal for next turn.
For sure.
He's just going to drop fiery bat.
Because next turn, if he gets 11 damage, if he gets any form of damage to face, he probably then secures the next turn hero power lethal.
This is not looking fun for GreenSheep right now. He's not really finding the answers to the scenarios that are showing themselves.
Don't worry, loves. The cavalry's here.
Big bad wolf out, but we'll be able to trade away with Catterick as well.
So I think with Argent Horse Rider kill command, next turn you set up lethal with pending no freezing trap, which we know is there.
So do you Leroy Jenkins now?
I was about to say that, yeah.
Because you know that that isn't a freezing trap?
The issue with Leroy Jenkins this turn is that you can't weave a hero power in with it.
True.
You need to get guaranteed lethal next turn. You need to have all of these cards play and go face in hand, right?
Yeah, because even then, if the other Horse Rider got bounced back, you're right. So Jambre might even trade possibly. I mean, dare I say it as a face answer? No, you go face.
And we are one turn away from just having
Don't worry, loves. The
straight
cavalry's
up
here.
lethal in hand right now. Jambre, but that freezing trap put a spanner in the works. And there is, I mean, you can clear the entire board here on the side of GreenSheep. So freezing trap would have been a bit of a pain. However, this kind of grandmother has not been dealt with, and actually, that could be seriously bad news.
Yep, you can put him down to 2 here. And on 20 health, I think you are feeling relatively comfortable here.
What actually secures
This is where
lethal?
Blood steps in.
Wait a second.
Masterful.
Yeah, I'm going to say, if you got kill command, was that close to lethal for GreenSheep?
I can't count damage now because there's a big 3 popped up on the
2,
screen.
2,
I think
3.
it was close.